Hi guys, this is Umair back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about very important topic in MERN stack, and I'll be implementing login with Google. As I said in my last video with sign up with Node and Express, sign in and sign up. So I have actually created a default React app, and if you're not sure how to create a React app, you can check any documentation. I have just used the package create React app, and using that package I've run npm create React app command, and it has created me all these boilerplate files for the React app. And this is the folder that I've created front end. This is the folder I've created my app within the front end, and all these files are created by the create React app package. And this backend folder contains all the backend folders, the boilerplates. Check out my previous videos. If I go, so I have created forget reset password, Node email account activation, and I have implemented the sign in sign up functionality using same backend boilerplate. I haven't uploaded the sign in sign up video as of now. Okay, I'll be uploading both of these videos at the same time. Okay, so I haven't used the React or any kind of front end for the previous functionalities for the videos that I've just shown you, forget reset password, email account activation. Instead, I have created the APIs for implementing these functionalities, and I tested those APIs using the Postman, and this is the Node Express collection, and inside it we have different 5 requests, and all these requests are working pretty fine. Check out my previous videos. I'll be giving the link of those previous videos as well as the whole playlist of the Node Express series. I have created 20 to 30 videos on Node Express up till now on my channel. Okay, so let's get back to the code. So this is the default React app. Okay, I have made some changes. It contains a lot of text over here to be shown on the browser, but I have just removed everything. The changes that I have made is there are a lot of CSS files, logo file, images in the source folder. I have removed all of these. Okay, and I've also removed the references imports from the index.js file as well as the app.js file, because it was giving me an error that there is no logo image found, no CSS file found, so I had to remove that. Okay, so I also have commented this line. So I don't need service worker. It was the file existing within the source folder. And I have included the bootstrap file. Okay, this is the bootstrap styles. I have included the CDN. You can just Google bootstrap CDN. You can just add it over here. Okay, and this is just the default thing, integrity, and the cross origin anonymous. Okay, you don't need to actually add these properties, just href and rel, and it will be working. Okay, and I have added the bootstrap because I'm using these classes to make the text center. All right, so this is the app running on the front end. Okay, this is the login with Google. Text has been shown up. This is the React app. All right, so let's go. Enough explanation. Now I'm going to start working on the login with Google using React. Not too much React. Okay, I'm just going to test the backend API functionality of the Google login, because how are we going to handle the user storage in the database using Node Express REST APIs that we have built. We have the other function as well for the default sign up login user, but if we want to log in with Google or maybe Facebook, we don't need to actually use email account activation or sign up, fill the form, and send the email, user activate his account, and then user can be able to create his account. But using with the Google and the Facebook, we don't need all these steps. So how we are handling the DB and DB storage of all the users data coming from the Google and all these stuff. Okay, so I'll be creating the backend API Node and Express. Okay, so let's get back. So let's go package.json file, and there are a few packages that we need over here. Okay, so let me just come back over here, and I'm going to install those packages. So first of all, I need to install Axios for giving an API call. Okay, I will be using Axios to call an API for login with Google on my Node Express server that I haven't created yet. I'll be creating in this video. After that, and other than this, I need to have a package provided by npm and it's called React Google Login. It actually provides the whole interface for designing the Google login button and all this stuff. Okay, so npm I React Google Login. Okay, so this is the package you need to install. So you can see I've installed Axios, it has been added. So now let's wait for React Google Login package to be installed. Okay, so let me just remove it. I don't need to add anything inside the index. Instead, I'll be writing everything in the app.js file for now. Okay, so I have installed React Google Login. Let me just go and open up React Google Login, and this is the npm, and it will give me a default code that I can use. Okay, so this is the code that I can use to actually log in with Google. I'm just going to copy this, come back to my code, and it has been installed. Let me just close package.json, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and add this thing. Okay, it will not work for now. Okay, because I need to have my own client ID that I yet need to create from the Google developers, and I can write login with Google. I can have add these functions created, but I'll be creating for as of now. Okay, so let me just go and create the client ID. Okay, so let's just go and open up the console.cloud.google.com. When you open it up, you will see a kind of similar user interface. And what we need to do is click on this drop down, create new project. And I need to give the name project React Node Google Login. Okay, I'm just going to give it, click on create. Okay, so all right, and let me go back to the side menu bar, click on the APIs and services, and go to the credentials. Okay, and I'm on the, okay, it's just loading right now. All right, so I need to select my project that I just created. It is not selected in the drop down, as you can see above here. So I'm just going to click on this and React Node Google Login. So I have selected it. Okay, and now I need to actually configure consent screen. I just need to click on the create credentials and auth client ID. Okay, you can see these are disabled, so click on configure consent screen. Click on create, and now I need to create the application name within this project. So create node React login, and okay, we don't need to add this email. I don't need to add, so just click on save. Okay, so if I click on the create credentials again and click on this auth client ID, okay, so now you can see that these bullet points are activated. I need to have this app for the web app development. Okay, so here I need to copy the URL for the front end. So just copy localhost colon 3000. This is the URL for which I want to actually, URL must not contain the path and with this, so just remove it. Okay, so just hit enter. So both have been added. Click on create. All right, now it should give me the client ID now. So yeah, I've got it. Okay, so this is the client ID I've just got. Just click on the copy, and this is what we need to do over here. Okay, so okay, so I just copy over here. So this is the client ID we have just created. All right, so let me just run the React app. npm run start. So my React app is running. Okay, Google login is not defined. Response Google is not defined. Okay, Google login is not defined. Actually, we need to import the Google login from the package. So import Google login from React Google login. Okay, and we need to create this function. Okay, these two functions: React response success Google, response error Google. Okay, so let me just go above this return function, and I'm going to create a function const response success Google equals to response. So once the user log in, this function will be triggered. Okay, but we actually need to handle the API call for storing the user data in the database within this function. Okay, so all right, this is the response, and it has been created. Now we need to actually create the failure one function. Okay, so this is the failure one. All right, so inside the success function, let me just save it. There shouldn't be any error, as you can see in the terminal below. And let me just log it. So response. Okay, so let's just go. So now you can see that this is the button that has been generated automatically using the package React Google Login. We can actually customize button ourselves over here. Okay, so we can actually design it. I think logout hook, and these are all the APIs. Okay, so if I click on it, it should open up the window for login with Google. So if I click in, you can see that it has opened up the deep window itself, and it has shown me all the email IDs over here. So just click on any of these. I'll click on here. Okay, so because I haven't returned anything, or maybe I haven't actually returned the response. One moment, please. Okay, so if I go over here, inspect, console, VM. Okay, yeah, this is the response that I logged in, and this is all the data that I have received. So these are all the token type, access token, and all these stuff, ID token, and this is the user data, my email ID, username. This is all the object. Okay, so as if you remember it from our previous videos, okay, once we actually activate the account and once we create a new user for activating, we actually pass the token to the backend. Okay, so the same token we need to receive from the Google login. So this should be ID token. Okay, this is the property that we're going to be using to sending to the backend API, and it's going to be stored in the database along with the user details. All right, so yeah, so now let's come over here, and I haven't created any API for Google login backend for storing the data in the database. So, but I have to create yet. But first of all, let me just create an API call functionality over here. Okay, so I'll be using Expressjs. So let me just bring it up. So import Expressjs from Expressjs. So Expressjs dot no, it has an object, and inside it I need to give it a method. So from the backend I will be creating a Google login API call with the method post. So what should be the URL of that API? Okay, so our API server have been running in localhost colon 8000. Okay, so I will be creating over here. So HTTP local host 8000/API, which is in the server.js file in the backend. Okay, and then we are going to create Google login API route. All right. So after that, I'm going to send the data, and the data is the token ID. Okay, so data, and let's see, I'm going to give it token ID, and which is in the response dot token ID. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now let's go and verify. I need to verify that what was the name of it. Oh, we can do it later. After that, let me just receive a response if the user successfully, once we create an API call, and it should return us some message from the backend API. Okay, so I can actually log the response. Okay, it's not from the Google API, but the API, REST API that we are going to be creating. Okay, so here we can actually use the local storage. So let me just do it later. Okay, so just remove this bracket. All right. This is the bracket over here. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to our backend. Okay. Make sure you check out my previous videos in order to know that this is the controller, this is the database, models, routes. This is the model, name, email, password, and reset link. Okay. And I'm gonna be using this auth route. And in here, I'm going to be creating a new route, okay, for login with Google. So router.post, and let me verify what I added over here. So Google login, and I actually need to create this function in my controller. So Google login, it doesn't exist yet, but I need to open up, in this file, I only need to create this thing. Okay, so just close it. I need to open up this controller auth function. Okay, so under it, I'm just going to create a new function called exports.google login. Is it the same name? Yeah. Okay. And it's going to have a request response. Okay. And now I can actually receive the token ID that I sent from the front end. Let me just go. And this is the token ID that I sent from the front end. I can receive it over here. So let me just use const token ID request.body. Okay. In my backend, I actually need to have the client ID as well that I have used on the front end. And this is because we need to actually verify if this token that have been generated by login with Google have already been existing in the user database or not. Okay, if it's empty for the user, if it's existing, then we can actually verify that even if you are trying to log in with the same user Google login account, it means that you are already logged in. You have already created your account in the database. Okay, so we need to have a few more packages in the dependencies. So let me just open up this terminal. This is for the backend. Okay, and here I'm going to install a package npm I and the package called Google Auth Library. Okay, so it's going to get installed. So let's come back to our route and our controller. So we actually need to have the auth2 client from the Google Auth library. So let's go up. So const require Google Auth library. Okay, and it gives us auth2 client. Okay, so make sure you install this package Google Auth library, and this package is going to let us actually verify if the token that was generated while we logged in with the Google is the same or not. Okay, so I'm just going to actually create a const over here. So const client equals to new OAuth2 client, and here I actually need to pass the same client ID. Okay, so just copy it and paste it. All right, so it has been pasted. Now what we need to do is we actually need to verify the token. Okay, so what we can do is this token we send from the client side, and the auth2 client actually package will actually verify that if the token that was sent from the client side and the token that we are using in the backend is same or not. We actually need to verify. Okay, so first of all we need to use the client verify token, and this is the token ID. Okay, so this is the token ID we are going to actually check, and then we are going to give it an audience, and then we need to have that Google client ID. Okay, and after that we can have then response. All right, so inside it we will get a response, and response will have our object payload, and from that we can have different options: email, verified, name, and email. Okay, so this is from the response.payload. Okay, let me just log it first. So response.payload, we're actually going to test it. What does it print? Okay, so let me just go to the terminal and make sure your backend server is running and your front-end client side is running and there is no error. Okay, let me just go back to React app. I'm just going to click on the login again, and it's going to run this thing app, and here from here it's going to call that API we have just created. Make sure you have correctly spelled it, and it is going to send the token ID, and it's going to return the response over here. We haven't returned any response from the backend as of now. Okay, so just click over here, and on the backend server it should return us the payload from here. Okay, so this is the response that it has logged in. Let me go back to the backend server. So it has given us an error. There is an error: verify token ID require the ID token. Okay, so actually this thing failed. This thing didn't work. Okay, so if I go to and here I have to actually check the session state. No, token object and ID token. Okay, so let me just come over here, and I can actually use the ID token, and this is the property that we have to pass. This is the property that has to be received over here. Okay, so let me just rerun the front end app and just check if it works or not. Okay, so it's working, it has started. The React app is running. Click on the login with the Google button. Inspect. Okay, so I'm just waiting for it to load and show me up. So just I'm gonna click over here, and it's going to just hit the API call to the Google to verify my email address. Okay, so this thing, all right. So now this is the payload it has returned. So the problem was this client, this Google login auth to client actually return us a property, and we need to assign the same token to this ID token. Make sure you don't give it a mistake, and we need to give it a value for the token that we have sent it from the front end. Okay, so we have logged the payload, and this is the response. Okay, it contains the email for my Google account. It's email verified true. This is the email verified property that I just destructured. This is the name. This is the email. These three properties I have destructured. Okay, nice. Let me just come over here, and we need to do a lot of writing code. So I'm not just going to waste a lot of time over here. Okay, so just do it. Now I need to check if email verified exists. This is the verified. Make sure you spell it right. That we have got over here. This is the email verified. Okay. If email is verified, then we are going to check if user.find1. Once the user try to log in with the Google first time, we actually need to create that user in the database. But if it has already logged in with the Google previously, we are not going to create a new user in the database. Instead, we are going to use the same object of the database for user to get logged in. Okay, so we are going to create a user as well as the login user at the same time in this function. Okay, so email, we are going to verify if user with this email exists in the database. If it exists, it means user previously tried login with the Google. Okay, if error, we actually need to handle a lot of errors. So I'm just going to copy from the above function, paste it. If there is an error, 400 user with this email already exists. No, something went wrong. Okay, because this error occurs when we're not sure what happened. Okay, and else we are going to check if user exists. It means that a user is already exists in the database. Okay, so else means user was not existing in the database and the user is trying to log in with the user for the first time. So let's come over here and try to write something over here in case the user is already existing. Okay, so I'm just going to create a token. So in the previous video, I actually wrote the function for the sign in. Okay, so this is the whole thing. I'm just going to copy from the previous function, and yeah, check out my previous video about the login sign up with Node and Express. Okay, so this is a token. I'm using the Java JSON Web Token to sign a new token, and I'm using this ID sign in token I've created in the env file, and it expired in the 7D. If the user is already existing, we just need to create a new token and expire it after 7 days. So user need to re-log in it again for the authorization. ID, name, and email I'm using for actually login user with these things. And I'm just returning the token as well as the user email ID. Okay, that's cool. And else, I need to create a new user. User was not already existing in the database. Okay, so let me create a okay. So what I can do is for actually creating a new user, if I go to the model, I have this password type, okay, which is required. So for creating a new user, I need to give it a password, okay. So let me just first create a new user property, and I have already got the name and email. Name and email, I've already got it from here, okay, name and email. Okay, this is the payload and we have to verify with this token, and this name is what we have received from here. Okay, this email and this is the name we can use these things. But for generating a new password, we have the password existing in the Google account. Okay, so for now what we can do is we can create our new password. Okay, it's up to you. Anything, any random numbers over here. So let password equals to I'm going to append the email with the token. So process.env.jwt anything sign in key. Okay, I'm going to create a new user. Okay, so I can pass it name, email, and password that I've just created. Okay, now I can actually use new user dot save error data. Okay, if there is an error, let me just copy this. If there is an error, we are going to return something went wrong. Okay, so return status 400. Yeah, but if there is no error, it means we have got the data. Okay, so user has been generated. Now we just need to create a new token and return the response. So we can just copy this code and paste it over here. All right, so now we have got the token, we are generating it, but not from the user now. We need to generate it from the data, okay, the new user data. Okay, so we are creating a new token and not from the user, but the new user. Okay, this new user have these things. And now we are just going to return the token and the user data. All right, I think that's pretty much fine, and it's not going to cause any kind of issues. Hope so. Okay, so from the back end, let me just rerun the server. Okay, and let me come back to the React app. So here I'm going to, let me just give it Google login success, so that I identify that this login message is here. Okay, so this response will be returned from here, either this, or maybe this thing. Okay, all right, so let's go over here, just to refresh this page, and I'm gonna click on this login with Google button, and let's see what happens. Click over here, and I should be receiving over here. Okay, data, uh, where was it getting logged in? status okay, data, this thing. Actually, I did not save this file, so that's why this Google login success is not printed, but this response is printing the correct value. So this response is that success function, okay? So I need to verify in the database if user has been created in the database or not. If it has been created, it means that our logic is working perfectly fine, and this thing has been executed. It created a new user, and it has returned this token and the user data. Okay, so this data contains this token. It is coming from the backend, and this user contained this thing. Okay, we are not returning the password. So let me just refresh the database, and all right, guys, two users. It means that it is successfully generated. Click over here, and yeah, guys, you can see this is the password. You can encrypt it. Okay, I'm not doing it in this video, but you should encrypt it. So this is the password that has been created, and this is the exact password that the way we created it. Okay, the email ID plus the key. Okay, from the environment file. Okay, so what we can do in the front end now, it's up to you how you want to proceed. Is we can actually store these values, the token as the user data in the local storage, and you can use the local storage to actually authorize if the user is already logged in or not, and proceed further to the profile page, dashboard, and a lot more stuff you can do. Okay, so now what we can do is we actually need to verify if user shouldn't get created if it is already existing in the database. Okay, so let me just go over here, click on this button again, and click over here. Okay, so now it should not create a new user. It should actually directly return us this response. Okay, all right, so we have got the response. This is the data, and this is the token and a user. And let's verify it from the database. There are already two users existing, and now we are not creating a new user. Instead, we are just logging in with the Google. Perfectly fine. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool, pretty much it. And you can proceed it from here. You can just call other components to actually navigate to different routes once user gets logged in, store the token user data in the local storage or maybe the cookie. That's the best way. So I hope that you have liked this video. In the next video, I'll be making a video on the login with Facebook using the same boilerplate, same server-side code and the same front-end code. So if you have liked my video, make sure you subscribe my channel. And there is another channel that I've got. I make the videos on culture, traveling, tech reviews, and I'm going to give the link of that YouTube channel in the description of this video. Don't forget to subscribe that channel as well. My channel name is Umair, aka Mirza. So I hope that you are going to subscribe my other channel as well. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you keep on checking my channel, this channel, and like this video, subscribe, and comment below if you have any question.